Hello, this is Douglas Robinson with Diff Edit Software LLC, and in this video we're going to be showing you how we can create a list of links like the ones I have up on my screen here in order to display incidents. So we can run a one-step like this against a search group to show links for incidents with, for example, the team that's affected by an incident and what that incident's about. So we have a series of links here that show the incident type, which is our incident label right here, incident ID, owned by team, and test. And basically this becomes useful if you want to have one email that's sent out for many different incidents. And we'll be producing a video in the near future on how you can create a batch email like that in the future, but this is some of the functionality that you'll need for that, and in the next few minutes you'll see me discussing how we can build a set of links like this. Alright, so for this video, when we create our links for an email template, and we're going to have a series of different links that get created based on a series of incidents. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the expression that I want for my links. So I'm going to open my expression manager, and I'm going to select, in this example, our incident business object, and I'm going to create a new folder for link expressions, because over time I'm going to have many different link expressions and I want to be able to find them. So the easiest way for me to remember how to create these link expressions, even though they're very simple, is just going to be copying the out-of-the-box hyperlink to Cherwell rich client link. I'm going to paste that in here, and then we're going to edit it. So here we've got a hyperlink to Cherwell rich client expression. I'm on version 9.3, and I'm so happy that I can resize this window. It's fantastic. But back to this. So here's my link. The link text, for those of you who aren't familiar with building links, is right here. It's the incident type and incident ID, and we've got the command to open the incident. I'm actually going to leave this one. No, I'm not going to leave it alone. We've got the incident type and incident ID, and then I'm going to add in the owned by team in the title. So we're just going to add in the owned by team value. Oops. And then the short description. Sorry, I said title. I'm used to having a title field. So we've got incident type, incident ID, owned by team, short description. It's showing this in red, and I don't know why it's showing this in red. So we'll find out if this actually works or not. In the past, I've seen issues with tokens. Oh, no, it looks mostly okay now. Never mind. Alright, so that's our expression. That's the expression we're going to use when we create an email. And just to test it out, I'm going to publish this real quick. Don't need to scan. Don't need to save anything. Practicing unsafe Cherwell right here. And if I go into a new one-step, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to open incident first, because of course I am. It's an incident one step. I'm going to need it, or it's an incident expression. I'm going to need it on an incident. So I'm going to go create, darn it. I'm going to go open an incident, and then I'm going to create a one step that'll use it so we can kind of test out how this expression will look, just so that I know it's working before I try to implement it. So we've got, I'm going to create a one step for myself, because my user folder, while somewhat cluttered, is not as cluttered as the global folder. So just so I know this hyperlink expression works, I'm going to create a pop-up, setting it to text box because the text box format lets you use rich text and will display a hyperlink. So here I'm just going to insert my expression. Ah, look at that. Our folder paid off already. Super easy to find it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to add this in here, and then I'm going to format this because it's not going to look like a hyperlink. If I run this, what will happen is I will get a link. Oh, no, actually, it did format it. Okay, never mind. On version 8.3.1, my experience was it always just gave me white text. May have been because of the way I was reading the text in for many different links, but generally I apply a color and an underline to it on its own. But yeah, this is what our link looks like. And we can click on it and it'll open up the ticket. Ah, look at that. All right. Oh, that is, oh, I have adaptive layouts. That's why that looks weird. It's because I have a different form for that smaller layout. Anyways, so we know our hyperlink expression works. So now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to create a series of hyperlinks. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to, well, I'm going to kind of explain this one by starting off with a problem. If we try to take a hyperlink expression and build it into a variable, it doesn't exactly work. So here's a text data type, and I'm just going to add to this our expression for our hyperlink. And I'm just going to keep appending that to this variable, so every time it runs, it gets a new hyperlink. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this pop-up to the end, so we see what our variable looks like. It is a text box. And then I'm going to find a search group here. I've got one. And I'm going to run this for that group. And we'll see what the result looks like. So in the end here, our variable actually strips out the hyperlink. And it just gives us the text. And then the link behind the text. So we can't use a variable for this, which is why I'm creating a video on how we can create a series of links in an email, because it is technically possible. But the way we have to do it is a little complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to write it out to an RTF file. We're going to write this out to an RTF file in rich text format. We need to make sure it's done before the next substep. And for every time we read this RTF file, what we're going to do, hang on a moment, this will be named write links. It will write it out to a temp file using our file names option. RTF link file, RTF link list file. We'll delete it after the one step's finished. We don't need a custom expression or extension or anything like that. We just need this file name. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this action right here will append for every item in here. It will append the hyperlink to the end of the file name. And to do that, we have to get the contents of that file using a read file or contents from file dialog. So this will just grab the contents of the same RTF file we're setting here in rich text format, and we have to check these two boxes as well. And then every time, all it needs to do is just append our hyperlink expression before the next substep's over. That way, when it runs many different times, it doesn't break things. And then we don't need this. So this will write our links, and then we can show a pop-up, and instead of showing our variable, we'll have one final expression of our content from file token. And when we run this against this group, we should get a series of links. And we have them. Now this is what I meant earlier when I said we'll have to format these. When you read this data in from a file, it doesn't show up as a blue link or an underlined link. You have to format it yourself. So this will show up this way both in a pop-up as well as in an outgoing email, which is where I'm planning on using this. So we can underline this fairly easily. If you need a shortcut for changing the color, hold down Alt and press 7, and you'll get this color dialog. I usually go with this one. So now if I run this, I now have a series of nice, pretty links for my incidents, and I can use this in an email. So that is our demonstration of how we can create a series of links for incidents for use in an email, or I'm showing them in a pop-up here just for simplicity's sake. If you have any questions about this, feel free to post them in the comments section below. And thanks for watching.